So FIFA have officially named their 2026 FIFA World Cup Dream 11, and while some of these names here are absolutely undeniable, at least three of them are going to divide football fans across the globe. They are going to absolutely be arguable in this particular situation, especially when I name the people that I believe should be in those roles. Let's break down every single pick in this particular one. Let's get it. And before we even go any further, we need you guys to understand that in choosing of this Dream 11, it was basically fan voting, tournament performances only, not by reputation, and based on their entire World Cup, not club form. You get me? So that's the first thing. And so, did FIFA actually get it right? That is what we are going to be asking in this situation and what we are going to be answering. Now, let's look about this situation. And instead of reading out the names and giving you guys every player and whatever the situation is, we are going to be answering questions about this situation. Why were they selected? What were their big moments in this World Cup? And was there someone better that would absolutely get that place? If we can answer those three questions and we do not have a replacement for them, then in my mind, I believe this is a situation that should stay there. And I want you guys to also start by communicating it in the comments also, because I want to hear from every single person. The questions are, why are they selected? That is the first question. The second is, what were their biggest moments in this World Cup? That is the second question. And the third is, was there someone better in that particular role? And let the discussion start in the comment section. Let's begin. First things first, as you can see, is Vozinha. Vozinha was selected as the goalkeeper of the tournament, and this one is a little bit skeptical. But the first thing we absolutely hear, this is the biggest surprise in the 11. Incredible performances. He was the Cape Verdean fairy tale in that situation. Heroics against Spain, huge saves throughout the tournament, and he was absolutely a leader at 40 years old. You get me? But the question is, based on everything that we have mentioned, so let's start answering this question with this particular one. Why was he elected? He was selected because, of course, it's fan voting, and in my mind, he absolutely was the standout superstar or the breakout star of this World Cup. So he was going to have the popular vote of the fans. Now, he absolutely had incredible performances, like the performance against Spain, the performance against Argentina. Those were performances that stand out to me about how brilliant he was in this World Cup. He had heroic saves against Messi. He had heroic saves against Alvarez, against, if I'm not mistaken, Enzo Fernandez. Those are the moments that I absolutely stand out in my head that I remember with Vozinha, and it was absolutely ridiculous. But the question is, those were the big moments in this World Cup. But the last question doesn't absolutely gel for me, because was there someone better? And this is where the question absolutely blows up in Vozinha's favor, because should Unai Simón have won this instead after considering just one goal and lifting the trophy for Spain? FIFA awarded Simón the Golden Glove, yet fan voted the Dream 11 featured Vozinha. And in this particular situation, in my mind, I think Unai Simón should have won this. I understand Unai Simón is not the breakout star like Vozinha is, but what he did in this World Cup is truly remarkable. For him to be one person standing to say, I have been the only goalkeeper to concede one goal in the entire World Cup and lift the trophy, that right there is a record-breaking performance for Unai Simón. So in my mind, this is the first position that the Dream 11 got wrong in my particular mind. And then we move to the next position, that is the right back. And in the 11, it was Pedro Porro. Now, Pedro Porro, when you're asking the questions, because remember the questions are still there. Why were they selected? What are their biggest moments? And was there anyone better? In this particular situation, I think he clears everything, because he was a consistent attacking outlet for Spain. He held his width perfectly well. He created assists for Spain. His defensive consistency was also paramount in this entire World Cup. And guess what? He also scored 2 goals in this World Cup. He was the perfect fit for Spain's possession football. But the debate in this particular situation could go with Pedro Porro or Hakimi. Because Hakimi, I think, got knocked off in the quarterfinals. But he was absolutely immense for Morocco. But in my mind, based on what Pedro Porro did, especially in the knockout stages, coming up with a goal against Belgium, I believe. Is it Belgium or Spain or Portugal, if I'm not mistaken? He just truly was present for the Spain's national team throughout the World Cup. And in my mind, when you look at the 3 questions, every question about this was, why were they selected? We have absolutely told you. He's absolutely spot on. The biggest moment I've given you already, the goals, the assists, the defensive duties. He was the one tasked to defend Messi in the final. He was the one that literally made Messi run away from that. Was it? No, not Messi. But who was the left-hand side for Argentina? I've forgotten. Shit. Anyway, Nico Gonzalez, I think, was the left-hand side. He has absolutely played his butt off when it comes to this situation. So in my mind, he is the right back. And then we go to the centre-back, and it was voted Dayot Upamecano. I cannot say his name without singing that song. It's absolutely impossible. But the truth about it is that he absolutely deserves this. Because when you look at those questions, he was the France defensive leader. When they took him out for that 3rd place game against England, you could absolutely see the way the French national team defense fell apart. 6 goals. 6. That was absolutely insane. His recovery pace for France was remarkable. It was just stand alone when it comes to defenders in this World Cup. His dominant area ability, chef's kiss. I understand this is French and it's wee, but my goodness, he was so dominant. His one-on-one defending was truly also remarkable. You get me? When it comes to the 3 questions that we stated in this video as the parameters of whether we will change the person or keep the person, he clicks all the box. He checks all the box. You get me? He checks every single thing. Upamecano is the right man in that position. The second person in that position is one that holds dear in my heart, and that is Lisandro Martínez. Now, this is a big discussion topic in my mind because don't get it twisted. Lisandro Martínez had that warrior mentality that Argentina has. He has that in abundance. His leadership in that back was absolutely remarkable. A lot of people think Cuti Romero was definitely the leader in that situation. I don't think so. I think Lisandro Martínez was definitely the one being as defensively sound as possible. Now, don't get it twisted. They allowed a lot of goals in this World Cup, but his ability to pass out the back, his assist, his goals, his leadership, his recovery plays, his ability to, oh my goodness, his aggressive defending was truly remarkable. But the debate in this particular situation, and the 3rd question, is I don't think he defended better than Pau Cubarsí, because I believe Pau Cubarsí will be replacing him in this situation, because what Pau Cubarsí did in this World Cup was truly remarkable. He won the Young Player of the Year. He has that shot that gave Mourinho the opportunity to knock out Portugal. He absolutely, that last-ditch defensive tackle against Argentina in the final, if you guys can remember, it was a cross from Simeone into the box and he get the ball out. He was running towards his goal, by the way. He still found a way to kick the ball for a corner. He has just been ruthless. He has been ridiculously good. He is truly one for the future. And Barcelona have absolutely gotten a really good one in this situation. Many fans argued that Cubarsí deserved a place after Spain's defensive dominance in this World Cup, but the Dream 11 limited each nation to 3 players. I don't care in this particular situation. He goes in for me. I understand that the Dream 11 limited people to only 3, and if we are going with those situations, then I would say okay, Lisandro Martínez goes in. But if we take away the restriction of 3 players from each nation, then he has to go in for me in that particular one. And then we move into the left back. And there's no other person in this World Cup but the guy that has the flowy hair, that has grown on all of us his hair. Cucurella. Marc Cucurella is the left back for me in this particular situation, and he's also the left back for every fan, because the Dream 11 also voted Marc Cucurella as the left back of this tournament, because outstanding tournament. His defensive work rate, his high pressing, his big game performances. I don't understand what you could ask for. He was such a thorn in Messi's side that Messi was absolutely out there trying to snitch at him doing this. Who knew? He just did not want to spit on Messi. Okay, that's just me just taking a jest. But come on. He was absolutely insane. We can argue right now that as we speak, he's arguably the best, or top three best left back in the world of football. We know Nuno Mendes is still there, but right now Nuno Mendes got knocked out of the World Cup with Portugal. However, Cucurella is truly remarkable. His ability to go up and down, his ability to still have the stamina to play through every single thing, every single minute, every single game for Spain was ridiculous. It was. And the only person that was better than him in this Spanish national team, for me, was the next person, and that comes in as a defensive midfielder in Rodri. Probably the easiest selection in this list for the fans and for me personally. Because what we are looking at is a Golden Ball winner, a Ballon d'Or winner, but that's set aside. Golden Ball winner, best player of the tournament, that is also set aside. He was also the tournament controller. He set every tempo for Spain. He was the passing genius. He also had the defensive IQ, knowing where to be at all times. His leadership was also very crucial in Spain winning this World Cup. Now, when he came off in the extra time for Zubimendi, I got scared, because the drop off from Rodri to Zubimendi is quite a gap. But Zubimendi and the way Spain play football is the next man up. You understand? The next man up. Everything Spain did flowed through Rodri. He was named the tournament's best player after leading Spain to the title. It was truly remarkable and something that we have to be excited about. Now, we go into the next midfield player, and that is Jude freaking Bellingham. I don't think there's any questions that need to be asked in this situation, because when we look at what Jude did, 7 goals this World Cup, the highest from an Englishman in the World Cup. Next, and he's not a striker. His leadership, pushing, fighting, especially the game against Mexico, I keep returning, because that was the game that showed the world that this guy is a superstar. On the world stage, his box-to-box role for England, he did every single thing for England, carrying England on his shoulders. Big game performances, Jude Bellingham was the man. But the question in this particular role is not about whether he deserves to be there in this Dream 11. The question is this now England's greatest ever World Cup campaign from a midfielder? Because he was spectacular. He was truly second to none in this World Cup performance. So in my mind, he answers all 3 questions, and he absolutely needs to be here. And then the last midfielder, which was the attacking midfielder for this particular Dream 11, was Michael Olise. There's no argument in this situation. I understand Michael Olise with Spain looked out of his depth. He looked like somebody that did not understand what it means to play against a team that had so much possession. But I don't blame him. I blame Didier Deschamps. Because when you saw him being played out of the park or out of the game, you move him to the left-hand side or the right-hand side. And then you move Dembele out and bring somebody that can dominate the midfield. Put people in the midfield. Because you play 2 players against Rodri, Fabian Ruiz, and what's his name? I've forgotten the other player that plays for Spain, Dani Olmo. You lose that game. But Michael Olise had chance creation, had assists, the most assists in this World Cup in 7 assists, I apologize. France's creative engine, he was also the one with the most quality in the final third. The question is, in this particular one, should another Spanish midfielder be included in this situation? Now, I do not agree because I think Dani Olmo was a good midfielder, but I don't think there was any attacking midfielder in Spain team that created more chances than Olise, in my opinion. And now we move to the final third, which is the front three, and he has to start with little man Lionel Messi. This is a huge talking point for a lot of people. We understand he is 39 years old and he's still delivering in the biggest stage. Another World Cup final for Lionel Messi. That takes him up to, if I'm not mistaken, 4 World Cup finals. Is it 4? 3 World Cup finals, I believe. Through leadership. Well, let me not say that because his leadership was a little bit of the silent type that wanted to do it based on what he does and not what he says. You get me? And that is absolutely spot on. He had the goals, had 8 goals this World Cup. He had 4 assists in this World Cup. And he's still carrying Argentina. Now, his legacy in this particular situation is no doubt. He goes down as one of the greatest players to ever play the football, to ever play the game. He goes down as one of the greatest players in Argentina that has ever been seen. Some people are still going to argue that Maradona was greater. However, what we saw from Messi in these past few World Cups has been ridiculous, truly. The only person in this modern day and age that can argue as an Argentine player is Angel Di Maria. Because what he did for Argentina, coming up in the big moments, coming up in World Cup finals, coming up in Copa finals, that's the only person that can even come close. So I do not think that anybody is going to displace Lionel Messi from this list. But the truth about it is how many players could reach another World Cup final at 39. It is truly remarkable what he has done, and we have to give him credit for that. The next player is Kylian Mbappé himself. Kylian the dictator Mbappé himself. You understand? One of the earliest or the easiest selections in my mind. He was the Golden Boot winner with 10 goals. He was decisive for France. He was truly the one that carried France on his back. His goals in every knockout round was truly remarkable, and he's literally the French attack. We understand the greatness that Dembele has. We understand the greatness that Barcola Doué has. But Kylian Mbappé was just on a different level. He is now become the highest goal scoring player in World Cup history after another incredible tournament. And that right there is truly remarkable. And that leads us to another and one last person in this Dream 11. And that is Erling Haaland. His first World Cup, his historic run to the quarterfinals with Norway. Every single person was rowing in this entire World Cup because of what he was able to do for Norway. He had the clinical finishing. He has his physical dominance that he did against Brazil. Finally, his performances on the biggest stage absolutely shows that it doesn't matter who he's playing with. You give him an opportunity and he is going to put the ball in the back of the net. Erling Haaland was remarkable. But the question also in this situation, should Yamal have made it instead? I do not believe so. I truly do not believe so. I don't think he did as much for him in this World Cup to make it. But the biggest snubs in this Dream 11, like I mentioned, is definitely Yamal, Unai Simón, Pau Cubarsí, Ousmane Dembele, Declan Rice, Achraf Hakimi, and Dani Olmo. Let me know who you guys think missed out the most in this particular one. Now, the biggest winners in this absolute World Cup that has enhanced their reputation to the highest level. Think about Rodri. Think about Bellingham. Think about Olise. Think about Pedro Porro. Think about Vozinha. Those are the players that I believe had reputation apart from Vozinha because nobody really knew who Vozinha was. But these are the players that have absolutely increased their reputation to the highest levels that I have seen. Vozinha is getting a club at 40 years old, and I'm so impressed with him. Pedro Porro is going to be going back to Tottenham Hotspur and demanding more money because of how special he is. Because I believe every club that wants their fullbacks to attack is going to want Pedro Porro. Michael Olise is truly a generational talent that it will be stupid of Florentino Perez to not go for his services. Jude Bellingham has just showed the reason why he should not be dissed by the English fans, and he literally shut up every doubter that England had in Jude Bellingham and Rodri, from being somebody that did not really play well with Manchester City this season to going back to the Ballon d'Or levels that we have seen Rodri, and that is absolutely remarkable. Now, the biggest surprises in this particular situation, like I said, was no Yamal, was Vozinha over Simón, was also only 3 Spaniards despite Spain winning the World Cup, and of course, Lisandro over Cubarsí. I believe that those were the biggest surprises from the Dream 11. Now, in this particular situation, what does this 11 say about modern football? This is also going to be almost the last part that we are going to talk about this situation. But this is interesting for me. This is one thing is first, attacking midfielders, attack-minded fullbacks are absolutely key for playing football, especially playing progressive football, possession football, but also football that penetrates in defenses. Ball-playing defenders are absolutely crucial, and they are going to be the next phase of football. Technical midfield, the ability to control the tempo of the game is more than the physical presence that we see in a midfield that England wants to play. Fluid front three. What we saw with Spain, the ability for Razabal to drop back, move left, move right. For France, for Dembele to move to the middle, to go to the left, for Olise to go from the right to the middle. All those things are absolutely crucial the way we are seeing football moving. Possession football rewarded. Possession football would always be better than transition football if you have the right players. That is what I've been able to see in modern football so far. Press resistance is absolutely valued, and that's the reason why I was breaking my head for the likes of Thomas Tuchel to not use Kobbie Mainoo in this World Cup. It's absolutely criminal in my mind. Now, when it comes to the team analysis based on everything that we have seen so far, is that this 11 actually work. Absolutely, it could. The strengths of this 11 were elite creativity, the goals everywhere, experience, and defensive quality. The weakness so far in this 11 was defensive transitions, balance, to attacking. Messi and Mbappe, defensive work, it's not going to work. Now, for me personally, in this, or rating this Dream 11, I would give it an A. Let me not say it. I'll give it a B because I think they made big mistakes in the 3 people that I named. And in that particular one, this is going to be my own Dream 11 for the World Cup. It's going to go with Unai Simón in goal. And the 2 centre-backs are going to be definitely Upamecano and Pau Cubarsí. The right back is going to be Pedro Porro. The left back is going to be Cucurella. In the midfield is going to be Rodri, Bellingham, and what they call his name, Michael Olise. And in the attack is going to be Messi, Mbappe, and Erling Haaland. Let me know what your Dream 11 of this World Cup was down in the comment. Make sure you guys hit that button, hit the follow button, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.